Hey YouTubers, welcome back to another episode of Jack of All Trades. I got yet another project here at the house that I'm doing, and I promised that I would always bring you along. We are replacing this Intermatic pool pump timer that is getting beat up by the sun every day. The plastic has rotted out on it, so after 20 years it's finally given up. I went ahead and got this Wi-Fi Smart Timer by BN-Link. I'm going to show you how to set that up and install it here in this video, so stay tuned. Alright, once you get started here, you can see I've pulled off this cover to expose all the electrical connections. Now everything is still alive in here, and you must understand that electricity can kill you, especially higher electricity like this. Is 240 volts on my system. So one of the things you need to figure out when you're going to do this setup first is what voltage is in here that you're going to use. Okay, it could all be 240 volts, or there could be 240 volts being supplied, but only 120 volts going out to your chlorinator or to your pump or whatever you're setting this up for. I know it can be used for several different types of appliances. You want to figure out the voltage first, and you can do that simply by following your actual cutoff switch here. Okay, this is the pull out breaker, the disconnect. Following that into the pump right here. Okay, and following those two cables in, and then just taking something as simple as a multimeter like this, following the two different cables, and that says 243 volts. Okay, now I know this whole system is 240 volts, but the way that you can go about checking to see if your pump is 240 and everything is just follow every single line that comes in. Okay, this line here is coming in from my pool pump, and it's not on right now, but I can turn it on, and I can follow these two cables to their posts and check the voltage there. I can check the voltage that's being supplied to my chlorinator. So I've got three conduits coming in here. One is the supply and two is going out to the load. So you just have to check those to see what your voltage is. Once you know where the voltage is, what the voltage is, then you can start prepping to take everything apart. Okay, you want to pull your disconnect. You want to check the voltage again to make sure there's no voltage present in this system before you start working on it, because this can kill you. All right, so just keep that in mind. The next thing you want to do is you want to locate where your knockouts are for your conduit. Okay, for this specific conduit box that we're using for this BN-Link pump, you can knock them out with a screwdriver, or I'm just going to use a step drill like this here to drill them out perfectly round. I'm going to need two on the bottom, as you can see here, and one on the bottom left. Everything else is busted. This thing's pretty dilapidated, so it shouldn't be too hard to get loose. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and we'll come back. All right, here we are. We got the box installed. I got the lid pulled off because I'm going to show you the diagrams on the inside here in a minute. But everything's reinstalled back together. We have the wires for the pump, the chlorinator, the power coming in, and the chlorinator all separated. This is a 240 volt system, so of course we've got two hots and a ground in each line. If you'll notice here, the chlorinator, both the hots are black. It doesn't matter. So there's no real polarity that you need to mess with. If you have a system that is 120 volts, you may have to deal with that. There'll be something in the diagram to lead you to the direct way to wire that. Another thing is if you're not sure if your systems are 120 volt, the nameplates, which are on the side of the motor right here, mine's dual pole, so I can use a single pole or double pole. I can have 120 or 240 volts on mine, but the nameplates on the systems themselves will actually tell you if they're still readable, what the voltage is. Anyway, I want to take you inside here, and we're going to look at the cover plate for this system, so I can show you how to wire it together. Specifically, I want to show you about these the uses of these jumpers here, and how we're going to get this situated. So let's go inside, and I'll show you the final part of this before we button everything up. All right, here we are in the workshop. I've got the cover for the breaker box, the timer box here, and I just wanted to show you there are 6 different schematics here on how to wire it. The left side is for single throw, which would be 120 volts fed power, and then this right side is for double throw, which would be 2-pole 240 volts, and it has different scenarios, whereas your specific your loads are 120 volts, but your power that's being fed into your timer is 240 volts. And then there's a 24 volt load for this one, which is lower voltage, so that could be like landscape lighting. But what we're going to deal with here specifically is the bottom right corner, because it shows here that everything, the timer, the load, everything is 240 volts, and that is specifically what we have that we're working on today. So I want to just show you here that the schematic showing the line. Okay, these are the lines coming in. This is the power coming in from the left, and the load is coming out from the right. The load would be the motor and the chlorinator. Okay, anything that is running or operating off the electricity is the load. Okay, and so what you can see here is the various connectors that are on the timer. Okay, they're not exactly labeled correctly, but you can just look at them and you can see what's what. Like I believe this COM says COM 1, even though it says COM here, and then NO I believe says NO1 on the actual timer. What I want to point out here, I wanted to point this out here specifically because I think this is the part that's going to give most people problems. So you have the power, the loads coming in, the power, which is 2 wires, okay, and your ground. Okay, it's not showing the ground here. But you have the 2 power wires, which in our case is the red and the black. It could be both black, or it could be red, and it could be black and white even. But we know they're 240 volts, so both of them are carrying power. Okay, so as you can see here, the one line specifically goes in the timer from each one, and then it looks like it branches off and goes to another location. Okay, I just wanted to show you that, yeah, indeed, your power cable is going to come in, and one's going to go to the left side of timer, and the other one's going into the right side of the timer. And then you're going to have what is essentially a jumper wire, okay? This wire needs to be just as big as your power feed wire that you have coming in, okay? You don't need a small, super small wire because you might burn it up, all right? I know I have a 20 amp breaker on that 240 volts, okay? So this 10 gauge wire here, or I'm sorry, this is 12 gauge wire. This 12 gauge wire will be plenty, okay? Most household wire is 14 gauge, okay? That could be too small, so make sure you properly size your wire. But you're gonna have a jumper that's gonna run like this, that's gonna run from the left timer here. It's gonna come across and it's gonna terminate in NO1, or NO in this case. And then you're gonna have another jumper that's gonna do the same. It's gonna come from the right side, and it's going to terminate in the NO2. So you're going to have 2 jumper wires in here along with all the other wiring, okay? The load is going to come in, and we're going to have, in my case, I have 2 loads, so they're just both going to be in the same spot, all right? We're going to have a load coming into COM 2, all right, and another load coming into COM, which is also COM 1. So both my pump and my chlorinator, one connector is going to be on for each one is going to be on the COM, and one connector from each one is going to be on COM 2, and they're just going to share that terminal. All right, so that's it. Let's go ahead and get it all hooked up now. All right, I wanted to show you the close-up here of everything before I got the wires tucked in. Just showing that the power that's coming in from the top here into the side, the 240 volts, the 2 legs. We got one going into the left side of the timer, and the other leg is coming here to the right. And then I have 2 jumpers. One jumper is coming in from the left timer, going into the NO1 spot. The second jumper is going in from the right side of the timer into the NO2 spot here in this. And then NC1's not used at all. And then the other part of the jumper from the left side, right there. And then the right side, the other jumper. Okay, and then here in the COM spot, we have the very first COM 1 spot. We have 1 leg of each load. You could have 1 load, you could have 2 loads, you could have 3, depends on how many different things you have working on this timer. I have the pull pump and the chlorinator. So 1 wire from each one is going to go into COM 1, and then we have the other end of the jumper from the timer, the right side of the timer, in here in NO2, and then the second half of the load for the pump and the chlorinator, those two wires are going to come in here in the COM2 spot, and then I've got all of the grounds all tied in together here in the back of the case. All right, let me get this button up now, and I'll have some final words. All right, so the all important validation of did this install go correctly? I'm going to show you. But first, we're also going to do the pairing of the Wi-Fi. Now, I've heard that this is a complicated process from reading some of the reviews. So what I'm actually going to do is push that off to a part 2. I'll try to put the link above though, just in case it's windy out here, just in case you missed it. But anyway, I hope you liked this demonstration. I hope it helped you out figure out this process or this project for yourself. I know sometimes it's very helpful to watch someone else do it. But anyway, without further ado, hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Looks like it's good to go.